For this video, I want to go over what I think is the best heater for tropical nano tanks on the market right now. Before I go any further, I just want to say that I've purchased 3 of these heaters with my own money over the last year, but Hygger kindly sent me a 4th one for free. They also gave me a coupon code for a 5% discount and free shipping for any US resident who wants to give it a try, and I'll leave the link in the description. So let's dive into why I think that this is the best heater for small nano tanks, and it's the absolutely tiny size. And I mean, until you see this heater, it's actually difficult to realise how small this actually is. Here's a side-by-side comparison with it against my Fluval T-series heaters that I used to use before I started to move over to these. So you can see the Hygger Nano Heater is a lot smaller than these, and they are probably the main competitor on the market right now in my area. Here's a side-by-side with a generic budget heater that you can buy on Amazon, and again, as you can see, the Hygger heater is considerably smaller. My regular viewers will know that I prefer to keep smaller nano tanks where space is a premium, so a bulky large heater can not only take up a lot of space, but if you're on the aquascape and side of the hobby, it can catch the eye and ruin the overall look of your aquascape. Here's the front view of my 8-gallon or 30-litre betta fish tank, where I managed to completely hide the nano heater behind the filter intake, keeping it completely out of sight to maximise the impact of the aquascape. Unlike some other heaters that grow in size as you increase their wattage, this one stays small, ensuring that it has a minimal impact on your aquarium's appearance. So speaking of wattage, and here's the available sizes for this heater. Currently it's offered in a 15 watt, a 25 watt, a 50 watt and a 75 watt variant, making it suitable for all commonly available nano aquarium sizes. Based on the guideline of 1 watt of heater power per litre of water, here's a quick rundown of the recommended tank sizes. The 15 watt model will work well for tanks up to 4 US gallons or 15 litres. The 25 watt model is suitable for tanks up to around 7 US gallons or 25 litres. The 50 watt model can handle tanks up to 13 US gallons or 50 litres, and the 75 watt model is ideal for tanks up to 20 US gallons or 75 litres. I know that definitions of nano tanks do vary from region to region, but personally I wouldn't consider anything that's over 20 US gallons to be a nano tank, so this heater covers all of my needs. So moving on to the design of the heater, it includes a submersible heating element that will go into your aquarium, the external control unit that stays out of the aquarium and stays dry, and then there's the power plug that will be localized to the plug type in your home country. Unlike some heaters that rely on a traditional suction cup system that can occasionally pop loose, this one features a ring design that secures the suction cups onto the heater, making it ideal for aquariums with higher water flow. To set this up, you simply place the heating element into your aquarium, plug the heater in, and then you'll adjust the controlling unit to your desired temperature. The internal thermal regulator will automatically turn off once the heating target temperature is reached, helping to conserve energy and keep your power bill low. Once the water temperature begins to drop, the thermal regulator will detect this and the heater will kick back on to maintain a stable water temperature for your aquarium. I also want to highlight how user-friendly this heater is, and it's perfect for beginners. To set it up, you simply press the set button on the control unit and adjust the target temperature with the up and down buttons to meet your desired temperature. Then you press the set button again to display your tank's current temperature, and from there the heater will automatically take care of everything else. As I mentioned earlier, the built-in thermal regulator will start switching between active and idle as needed to maintain a suitable temperature for your aquarium. One thing that I would mention is that for any tanks that are over say 15 US gallons or 56 litres, it's probably a good idea to get some sort of water flow to circulate the warm water throughout the tank. This helps avoid any stagnant areas in the aquarium that can cause the heater to go into its idle mode, because all of the water surrounding it is at the desired temperature. Thankfully, most modern, suitably sized aquarium filters will easily provide enough water flow to prevent this from being an issue in your tank. Next up, I want to talk about the the heater's thermal accuracy. By that I mean its ability to precisely gauge the aquarium's current water temperature, calculate the difference between its current temperature and your target temperature, and then heat the tank accordingly. Since I'm based in Europe, I'll be referring to these temperatures in Celsius. So let's start with my 50 watt heater that's in my 8 gallon or 30 litre betta fish tank. Here's the target temperature on the control unit, and here's the current water temperature shown by my digital thermometer. This one is my spare 8 US gallon tank that's 30 litres, and it has another 50 watt heater inside of it, and you can see the target control temperature here on the control unit alongside what the thermometer is reading for its current water temperature. Finally, I have a 25 watt heater in this 1.7 gallon or 6.5 litre shrimp jar, and this is the target temperature on the control unit, and this is the thermometer's reading for the water. As you may have noticed, there is a slight discrepancy between the heater's target temperature and the actual water temperature in the aquarium, but I've had similar issues with far more expensive heaters like the Fluval T series. I got around this by playing around with the target temperature on the control unit and then checking my actual tank's water temperature once it had had time to adjust. In my experience, once you find the sweet spot, the water temperature will remain stable even if it's not exactly what it says on the control unit. So moving on, and we get to value for money, which is another reason I think that this is the best nano heater on the market right now. This is the current price of the Fluval heaters on Amazon.com, and at the time of recording most of them are around the $50 US mark. Comparing that to what I pay for these, I thought that was ridiculously high, so I actually went and double checked the 50 watt model on Walmart, and it does seem to be the correct price. Now this is the current price for the Hygger heaters on Amazon.com, and as you can see, all of them are roughly around the $20 US mark. Thankfully, the Fluval series heaters are nowhere near as expensive as that here in the United Kingdom, but the Hygger heaters do still come out as the cheaper option in the UK. So just to quickly recap the pros and cons of the heater, and starting with the pros. Firstly, this thing is absolutely tiny, instantly scoring at points over most of the other heaters on the market right now. Second, it has a 15 watt, 25 watt, 50 watt and 75 watt variant available to cover all of the popular nano tank sizes with ease. Thirdly, the thermal regulator in the heater seems to do a good job of setting the heating element between idle and active to maintain a stable water temperature. Fourth is how beginner friendly this heater is, because I know some aquarium heaters with a digital control unit can be very confusing to set up. And finally, we have the low price tag, and considering what some other leading aquarium heaters on the market right now are retailing for, this thing is very cheap. So moving on to the cons, and the only one I can really think of is the discrepancy between the target temperature you set on the control unit and the water temperature in your aquarium. As I displayed earlier with my own tank setups that are running this, it's really not that much of a difference, but if you have a thermometer you can easily test and adjust to make sure you get everything right. In addition to that, I've had this same discrepancy issue with Fluval T series heaters, Aqua L heaters and some cheap Amazon heaters too, so it's not something that's specific to this. In my opinion, this is a great little heater that works really well in nano tanks, and that's why I've been slowly switching my tropical tanks over to using this compared to the bulky Fluval T series heater that I used to use. Anyway guys, that brings the video to an end. Affiliate links and the US discount code are in the description of the video if you want to give it a try. I hope it's been helpful. Thanks for watching and have a good day.